survivors of the nuclear fire called the War Judgment Day. They lived only to face a new nightmare, the war against the machines.
I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
We had it. Okay, here we go. We're in. Now we're in.
Good.
Good old Ian. Okay, guys, here we are. Ian goes, is it just me or just is there no sound? No, it wasn't. It wasn't just you. It was our incompetence as usual.
Apologies.
Yeah, and I feel like there's not really much I could do at this point. Like I guess I'll have to say it, but all my mojo's gone.
I know. Yep.
We have a baby formula company. If you have a baby that needs formula, check us out at Amazon.com. Fuji Bear. Yeah.
Well-
that was corny.
Basically, what we told you guys is that the formula standards have not been updated in America since 1980.
1980.
Yeah.
Before we were born.
that formula in the corner, you may recognize the baby. That's our business that we have now launched, and it is up on Amazon.
Amazon.com, dear listener. Amazon.com. Fuji Bear Baby Formula. Ingredients made in Europe, actually. Because American standards are absolute shite. As well as the fact that the formula crisis really didn't need to be. We might shoot a Middle America episode about the formula crisis,
it's
but when
gonna
we
be
were
pretty
doing
crazy.
product research to sell this thing,
The stuff we came across.
the stuff we came
Things
across,
we've seen.
the things we've seen. All right, guys, here we go. The time has arrived. This is the Core Alliance. The Core Alliance.
Yeah.
And we have some bangers in here for you. Remember, if you guys can, if you want, at least $1 gets you in. We've got a bunch of Alliance leaders who will show you the way. Eggs are almost $30 in Arizona.
Misery Biz. Okay, so we have a ginormous family. So we buy it's 5 dozen eggs, right?
5 dozen eggs, yeah.
5 dozen
from
eggs. And we
Walmart.
used to pay what?
That used to be $7.28.
It's now up to $24.30. Is
Yep.
that what it was?
Yep, for eggs.
For eggs.
It's unbelievable to me.
I couldn't believe it. I
Absolutely.
was like, are you
Holy
serious?
shit.
I'm not joking you.
We're
bought...
number 4 if you put in infant formula.
Yes.
It's just a matter of time in this bitch.
Yep.
It's just a matter of time.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
What were we saying?
You were talking.
Oh, the eggs thing? Oh, yeah. I bought eggs, a big package of diapers, and wipes. And just that was almost $75. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is madness.
All right, guys, here we go. We got song number one. Song number one. Now, if you want to join an alliance is $1. $1 gets you in for the alliance. By the way, Jay or anybody else in the core, is there an actual screen? Is there a little screen cap thingamajiggy? Or are you guys just gonna see? You guys just gonna see little Fuji Bear on the side there. So until you guys get us a good thing, there's Fuji Bear right there. We'll just do a Fuji Bear thingamajiggy. Okay.
I thought that AI thing was for this.
No, the AI thing was specifically for me.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay. All right, guys, here we go. Song number 1. River is here. Okay, River's here. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you as well, Ian.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to you as well. All right. All right, guys. Song numero uno is Don Henley.
Oh, that's true. We should have worn the core shirts.
We should have. Next time we will wear our core shirts. Gang, gang. I think like we're honorary members of the core. I think they let us in there. I think. I'm not sure. We'll see.
There was one of them that let us in. Okay. So were we just going with the first 4 here? Is that what's happening?
Yeah. I got the list from Jay. I asked him which ones were priority.
Okay, what's first?
I'm pretty sure it's the one I just mentioned.
Kill Rob Bailey, Heartbeat? I actually didn't hear you mention a song.
Oh.
All I heard was...
Okay, yeah. Kill Rob Bailey, Heartbeat is actually the first one. Okay.
All right.
Kill Rob Bailey, Heartbeat is first. This is part of an alliance. As you guys know, we are run pretty much by the alliances and you wonderful people. Emily Lee in the house.
Hey!
Emily, I was just telling Ian about the latest Bible bookie topic that has been spinning around. I think Soraya is actually going to jump in too.
Yep.
This is.
When is it?
I'll be interested to see like this version of you in the Bible boogies now. You know what I'm saying? It'd be. I bet you it's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
People haven't been able to see what I've been able to see. Why did you download Cradle of Filth 4 times?
I didn't do any of the downloading.
Oh, that was Zoe that did that. Talk to the people.
She was trying. Okay. What's the matter? We don't have it? Let me pull up the things here.
Yeah, Kill Rob is not on this one.
Oh, River, they're not as bad in Cleveland? I wonder why. They're terrible here. I can't even
What's not as
believe
bad
it.
in Cleveland?
The prices aren't so bad over there.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. In England?
wonder why that would be.
Emily, I didn't know we were bringing them back either. I assumed they would come back at some point, but I wasn't sure when.
What are you guys talking about?
The Bible boogies. When did that get decided just now, or?
Yeah. I saw Ian.
And then
I
you
saw
Amy?
Ian, and I said, "Oh, Bible
All right.
boogies."
Well, we'll
All
let you know.
right. At 23:59 on New Year's Eve, I bought some bread I put some bread into my toaster. I wanted to see in the new year with a New Year's toast. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, Ian.
All right. Kill Rob Bailey is my gym go-to. Thanks for the comments on the lights, Jaden. I appreciate it. So this should be interesting. So here we go. Kill Rob Bailey, heartbeat. Let's do it.
What's up, Dwayne?
Mike clips at a higher tone.
Oh yeah, because I turned this thing.
I love when we get feedback. Please.
Yeah, I turned
please,
that thing.
Please,
thing.
please. And
So
that's
you're gonna have to adjust your expectations.
That's what we need.
Here.
That's what we need. That's okay because I got that. So we're not going past yellow when I talk. So we're in good shape. Don't worry.
Okay.
All right, guys. Here we go.
Thank you for the feedback.
Thank you, Jim Thompson. Jim says he loves us. We love you too, buddy. And I wasn't being sarcastic. I really do love when people help us with our quality is important to me, dear listener. All right. And that's why we spent so much money on Fuji Bear formula because we wanted quality. Yeah. Oh, my God. That's ridiculous. Heartbeat. Rob Bailey, song number 1. Let's do this shit.
Focused and driven by purpose. Sacrifice long nights, all fucking worth it. I've been here for years, I'm not fucking nervous. It's not the first time I saw blood hit the surface.
Wow.
Stop, take a deep breath. This is the first step. I can feel my heart beat. I can feel the build inside me. Dare to this motherfucker out back. Dare to this motherfucker out back. I can set myself free. I have never been so ready.
I
Okay.
really like that one.
So now this, shout out to Jonathan Arcalone.
What's up?
This song is now. Okay, so I got a bucket list. One of the things on my bucket list is I got to go out into the woods with Kai. The other thing on my bucket list that just happened is Perkinos. Me and Perkinos got to sit down for about 48 hours and just discuss church history.
I'll just deliver you
third-
guys. I'll deliver you guys food.
Yeah, you'll just deliver us
Cookies.
food. Just deliver us food.
Meals.
Yeah, if you can find a girl that looks like 20% like you, we give her the perk. We don't need to like ask her, you know. Just trying to get
We have the perfect person for you. Come
Trying
with
to get
us.
myself in trouble. He would be the perfect person though. If you want a man from Jannah, as the prophet used to say, that is Perkinos. Okay.
Okay, so what's the third thing? The bucket list.
The
What'd you
third
ask you?
thing on the bucket list is me and Misery Head at the gym with this shit in our in our heads on the fucking running and hitting the weights. Maybe we could roll a little bit, some jujitsu.
Okay.
Maybe go out to the range. You know what I'm saying? There's
This
like
is turning into an event.
all type of shit. Yeah. It's a little play date.
Yep.
No homo. Shout out to Misery Head. But now that I've heard this song,
Oh
because
my gosh,
he was
this
like,
song is
"Yo,
awesome.
this guy's on repeat in my gym,"
Oh, really?
and I was like, "Oh, okay, it's gonna be some heavy shit." But this shit is moto as fuck though.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, very motivating.
Yep.
Very motivating.
Yeah.
You know, like this is another thing. Like everybody knows, like I get into these curiosity kicks. I'm really looking into the whole manosphere phenomenon, and it's interesting, like the criticisms of the manosphere phenomenon. So, for example, it's called grind culture, where it's like, you gotta work, grind. You gotta work when everybody's sleeping. You gotta wake up at 4 o'clock. You gotta wake up at 4 o'clock and take a cold shower. You know, like David Goggins, Joe Rogan, those kinds of people. And I always looked at that as, that's how it goes. And I was kind of naive to it because now I'm seeing so many people criticize that mentality, and they're criticizing the grind lifestyle, and they're saying that, you know, it's inhumane and most people can't, basically that it's pathological. Like if you work that much, like you have a mental disorder, you know, and some people like compare it to like celebrating the supermodel, but in reality she's anorexic.
Disorder and Yep.
And I understand. And you know, me, like being a person like me who's always argumentative, I immediately am like, man, you guys are blah blah blah, and you guys gonna be poor, and you know, you're gonna waste all your privilege and all that. And you know, for a large part of me, like that's still kind of my instinct. But then I'm like, okay, anytime you see a movement, something is probably wrong with it. Like it's not going to be perfect. So then I think to myself, like, do they have a point? Like this whole culture of, I don't need any help. Like, you know, I don't need your hand out.
Yeah.
Get your hand away from me. I'll do it myself. This sort of radical, almost uniquely American individualism. How about a man from Arizona? Not a man from Jannah.
Okay, so
Yeah, Ian, for sure. We'll talk. No, but it's like I'm listening to what they're saying. I do think that workaholism is an ism. Mm-hmm. But you know, like if a person's an alcoholic, there are some real immediate consequences to being an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. And there are, in my view, almost no long-term benefits to alcoholism. Mm-hmm. Same thing with anorexia.
yeah.
But like having a grind mentality, I definitely do see that people can fall off on the wrong side of that, but there are long-term benefits. So to like make a correlation between like anorexia, alcoholism, and workaholism, I think is not helpful, because the workaholic is going to say, yeah, but you destroyed your life. You've got like a divorce and whatever, and you killed
provided
these
for my
people in a
family.
car accident. You killed these people in an accident. You know, what do you mean? Like, I'm providing for my family. My kids never have to want for anything. Blah blah blah. You know, the typical. so I listen to a song like this and I'm like, it's so motivating, and there's something in the spirit of every man, and I do think women as well, but like that somebody kind of clicks that button and like gets you to like max out on that energy and that desire for conquering shit. And like songs like this like tap into that. He sounded a little bit like Lemmy from I forgot the name, Motorhead. That like grimy, grungy voice. Like it reminds me. It reminded me of that. So my point is, it was an extremely motivating song, for sure. And it really like it's a song that our culture needs, because I mean it's, you know, there's a lot of that shit going on, and there's a lot of low standards for people, and I do think people need to learn how to grind and push themselves and not necessarily take help from others. Now, obviously, there's a sense in which it's a good thing to get help from others at times, but there's a sense in which you can become too dependent on the help of others. And all things being equal, barring a disability, obviously, like as a man, you should contribute. You should look at your society and be like, okay, how do I contribute? You know what I'm saying? Like, how is the place better because I'm around? Or who would miss you if you were not there at work? And I'm not saying like who would miss you as in like you're a great guy, but like who would miss what you bring to the table? You know what I'm saying? Like those are important questions. And like, has the manosphere like went overboard? Probably.
When you say manosphere,
Kevin Samuels,
okay.
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
You know, like there's different like brackets to the manosphere. Some of the brackets are relationship, you know, that Kevin Samuels type guy. I think Andrew Tate got big because he combined the financial work thing with the relationship thing.
Okay.
So you have a whole group of people that are like, be a man, you know, stand up for yourself, be a well-dressed man, you know, Kevin Samuels, like tutorials on how to get women and all that. Then there's this other thing about like, and it's always like, be an entrepreneur, financial independence, you don't want to keep working for the man, blah, blah, blah. And most small businesses fail, but you know, you're going to be the exception, and here's how you're going to do it, blah, blah, blah. So like, that's essentially the manosphere. And then that then defines your masculinity. So your ability to get, you know, A-class girls makes you a high value man, and your ability to start your own business, that makes you a high value man. So obviously those are two very extreme goals to attain. Like, I'm going to get the prettiest girl in the room and I'm going to be a millionaire. Well, I'm sorry, like that's 0.03% of people
that's even going to get there. Yeah.
So that's my issue is that like there's a balance between, you know, we talked about this, you know, with Tom Brady and, you know, Skip and things like that. Like there's a balance between being like extremely dedicated to what you're doing and having a plan and then doing what you need to do to execute that plan, while at the same time not making that the locus of your value, which is, I think, the real problem. The real problem I see with the manosphere is that your value and identity gets located in your accomplishments.
I'm here to help.
And I think that's a problem.
It's interesting because you looked at this song and you're looking at it from the like working side of it, like accomplishments in life. And I looked at this as like, so when it says go, 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 tear this motherfucker open, focused and driven by purpose, sacrifice, long nights, all fucking worth it. You're looking at it as it's like you're the job. And for me, I was looking at it as, and obviously, you know, this is probably because of where I am at in my life. But when he's talking, like this entire song to me was about that decision of getting out of like bad mental habits and making bad decisions for yourself and coming to the point, because it says, I can feel my heartbeat. I can feel it build inside of me. Tear this motherfucker open. I can set myself free. I've been so ready. Tear this motherfucker open. So to me, it was like getting to that point where you're like so sick of your problems that you've been suffering under for years, and it's like getting to that point where you're like, you know what, I focused and driven by passion, battles are won by clear fucking action. And like recognizing that if you just sit on the couch and you try to work through your problems, it's not enough. You have to figure out where you went wrong, where you got off, and then you have to make active decisions. Like if something always comes out with the same ending, like every single time you have a fight with somebody, it always blows up into something really big, then you have to ask yourself, why is that happening and what can I do to alter that? Because obviously the point of a conversation is to communicate ideas and to be able to understand where the other person is coming from, and they understand where you're coming from, and possibly come up with a compromise if there's something you guys don't agree on. But if each time you just kind of like this was kind of happening with Vinny and I's conversations. They would just like start out with like a basic conversation, and then it would get like worse and worse and worse, and then there was frustration and nobody understood each other, and I was sad and you were frustrated, and then after a while, like it took a long time for me to really sit down and say what's happening in these conversations. And I noticed every single conversation, I felt deeply hurt at the end of the conversation. Then when I would back stuff up and ask myself, well, why am I deeply hurt? A lot of the stuff wasn't even a reason to be hurt about. And I just noticed that I was getting this like hypersensitivity, and it was something that I was like, okay, now, like, along with a lot of other things, stuff to work on, but like having, like it says, focused and driven by purpose and also by passion, and having action. So like actually doing something to change certain eventualities. And like I remember really stuck in my head, and I know I've brought it up before, but you were on that panel, you were doing a panel about like what is a woman, I guess. Yeah. And you were talking to a lot of folks on that, and like some people were talking about having anxiety to the point where you don't even want to leave the house, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And it's like, okay, well, what's going to stop that? Because it's not going to stop itself. You're going to end up, you will close in on yourself and you will stay inside your house because everything is going to get more scary. Yeah. So then just taking action against that and saying, okay, like being uncomfortable is not the worst thing in the world. And if you're not like going out in public, if you're going to get possibly shot, you know, if you're in some really crazy situation, well, then that makes sense. But going to the store and like getting something, like what is the actual fear? What's going on, you know? And trying to work through that. So to me, this song was like that. And he says, practice makes perfect. This will all be worth it. Stop, take a breath. This is the first step. Because that was one thing that I kept telling myself, because I started feeling so discouraged and so depressed underneath everything that I've ever done wrong, and how I've, you know, why was I doing this that way? Why was that? And like everything just was getting bigger and bigger, and I was feeling like this giant failure. And then I told myself, look, when you decide you're going to make a change, and life is decidedly going to change now, because you're going to make the hard decisions to be uncomfortable, and to make better, healthier choices for yourself all around, then like once you make that decision, you start focusing on maybe ways that you hurt people, or you focus on things that you've done wrong, you could just sit in all of like that wrongness and just get like just bogged down in it. Or you can say, okay, you know what, like he said, this is take a deep breath. This is the first step. And so if today you say, all right, today I'm making the change, like this is literally the farthest away from success you've ever been, if today's the day you change. Because tomorrow you're a little bit closer, and the day after you're a little bit closer. And every day it's about just making one or two better decisions today than you did yesterday, or than you did before when you were presented with this problem or with this scenario. And then after a while you start getting motivation and momentum, because you made a couple better decisions, and it might be something small, like Jordan Peterson says, wake up and make your bed. Like start out with something that you've accomplished in the morning. So he says make your bed, and you know, once that becomes a regular, like organize your desk, or organize the area where you get ready in the morning so it looks clean, like all the cords and everything's a mess everywhere. Like situate yourself so you're a little bit better, and then you can look at that and you can say, I accomplished that. I made my bed.
It was really interesting watching Anna. Anna had this guy Vosh on yesterday, and I don't know much about this guy. Very controversial figure, surprise, surprise. But they were talking about, because Vosh had put something about how the political left, has essentially abandoned men. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, you know,
in what way? The left is abandoned.
Well, you know what that Pearl talks about, like X amount of them are virgins, haven't been married, mm-hmm. only 20% of the guys are having all the kids, mm-hmm. you know, that type of thing. And the current left-wing position has been, you loser, you incel, blah, blah, blah. And they're not looking underneath so the only people talking are those disaffected guys are right wingers, right? And so that Jordan Peterson, all the rest of it, although, they put Jordan Peterson in the manosphere, and he's something completely separate.
He really is.
In my view.
I agree.
But because people are so simplistic, they just,
well,
that's
everybody,
the tribe.
it's
That's the
easier.
tribe they're
It's
in.
easier if you could put somebody into a box and categorize them. But when somebody doesn't really fit into it, it's a little bit more,
Yeah, but and I'm extremely traditional. I believe there are gender roles. I believe that men are protectors and women are nurturers. I don't think it's appropriate for a woman to go downstairs when the thing goes bump in the night at 3 a.m. Like, everybody knows that about me. But at the same time, there is a lot of pain in men right now in the country, and people can feel how they want to feel about it. But it was very interesting watching Anna and Vosh have this conversation, because Anna has spent years like mocking incels and all the rest of it, and I really respected her for saying, maybe we need to rethink this, because there is no. It's very fascinating for the group that coined the term safe space and all the rest of it. There's no safe place for men to be men. You know what I'm saying?
That's true, yeah.
Will Smith.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Will
Holy
Smith
shit,
is
wow,
almost
okay.
like the pinnacle of the type of dude that these people want you to be. Sensitive, forgiving, allows himself to get disrespected, won't ever stand up for himself, only stands up for the woman. Like, Will Smith is the epitome, but he doesn't get respected.
Right.
It's not like the left is like, oh, don't worry, Will, we got you, blah, blah, blah. He was getting blasted from both sides. So the only people talking to these dudes are people on the right that are saying, you want to be like Will Smith? You want to be mocked? No, hell no. You got to man up, blah, 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 blah. And like, I get it. I understand it. And, in my view, it's kind of like, it's that proverb of, the child abandoned by the village will burn it down until he gets attention. And so it's like, you can make fun of these dudes all you want, and you can make fun of, Andrew Tate and say he's horrible and all the rest of it. But if you don't go to the root as to why these guys have so much appeal, don't worry about it. You'll find out in the mall.
Yeah.
Best case scenario is you'll find out in the voting booth. Worst case scenario is you'll find out in the mall that these people are in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
So that there's a lot of things like going on like in the song to me. Like there was a lot of things where it was like, yo, I love that mentality. Like that mentality is native to like who I am as a person and the type of dudes I associate with. But then I'm like, yo, there are some men who need to have that. You need to be an entrepreneur mindset. Like there's some dudes who have that ability and just need that push. Like I had a dude from this channel like who bet on himself, did his own things. I didn't just like, oh, I'm gonna quit this 6-figure job and then we're gonna start this formula company and then we're gonna be number 2 ranked on Amazon. Man, I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just like, yo. So like when I had those people around me, I had the capability, I had the experience, I had the natural gifting to get to where we needed to get to. There's other people that message is so discouraging because they can't even make their bed.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, cool. Now you got this Jordan Peterson guy.
Yeah.
He'll tell you to make your bed. Mm-hmm. And that dude has stopped so many mass shootings.
Yep. Oh, I
by
believe
himself.
I totally believe it. Yep.
All these people criticizing this dude, like, I understand people have their political whatever, but there's a lot of hurting dude. I'm a dude. DJ's a dude. Misery's a dude. Like, I'm telling you, like, there's a lot of hurt men out there, and when dudes are hurt and there's no recourse for them, they're going to lash out. People are going to die. I mean, that's just, I'm sorry, but if you read these manifestos of the last couple shooters, and people are like, oh, you shouldn't read them, give them a platform. No, you need to hear what these people are saying. You need to know why they're hurt.
You need to know what's going on,
You need to know, and even if you feel nothing for them, which is fine, like, I know, because we're supposed to hate them because they killed a bunch of people. Like,
get the understanding to help
at least
prevent
understand
it for the
so
future.
we can present the next one. So I really like this song. It's motivational as hell. It's something that
I loved it.
It's something that I love. Like, I love that kind of motivation, that sort of like get up and all that. And like over the years though, and like some people in this channel, I remember it said something one time about manhood, and then Peter hit me up and he's like, "Hey, by the way, you said XYZ, and XYZ person's in this situation, so figure that out." And I was like, "Fuck, bro."
Oh wow.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of nuance to stuff. There really, really is. You can really destroy people.
We were at the gym today, and I was like looking around at everybody that was there, and like you have some people that they're struggling with their very small weights. You have other people that will struggle with weights way too big for them. For what? What's your goal? Like, you have to know that you lifted a big amount of weights, or is it just about pushing your own personal goals? And like, there's one person that I've seen the person get injured, you know, multiple times. Like, stuff has not gone well for them because they're always trying to push too much further than where they should be. And why do we do that?
You talking about me?
No, of course not. No.
You could. I mean,
No.
I'm always injured at that.
Yeah,
at that place.
but this is different. Like, I don't think that you're trying to get the number for somebody else. You're trying to push your own personal goals. And so, you know what I mean? Like, you're not looking at the guy beside you and be like, "Oh, he did that, so I have to lift more." You're just trying to beat your own, and sometimes you do overdo yourself. But anyway, so like, why are people making? But just basically what I'm saying is
And I have
everybody
no
has
problem
to
with that
have.
because it's true. Like, I fuck up my shoulder all the time. I'm always, you know.
Yeah, and you got to ask yourself why won't you listen to your own body if your body is saying, like I was doing those lifts and I'm like, I could start feeling it was getting a little sideways. I'm like,
yeah.
You want to keep
Well, I
pushing
mean,
it? Listen to your body.
I know why. I mean, I came out of a culture where it was like, you'll die before you quit. Like, that's the culture. That's what gets celebrated. So
Yeah.
getting injured while you're working out is like, it's the other thing
But I
too
think
is
you were
like
like that even before that though.
I was
Probably
a
all
little
your
bit, but
life.
like a lot of it too is like if I was running, like I did a bunch of running that time because I needed to apply.
Yeah.
I was getting winded too quickly, and I needed to be able. I needed to be able to run for 7 minutes straight, full bore, just based on the profile of whatever. And I was nowhere close to that. So like, the other part of it was like working out was always like it had a telos. There was a very specific reason.
Yeah.
That's why I was never a big weight guy. I was never a big because I'm not carrying around a 50 for two. Like that's not, you know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot of this and a lot of like being able to get, you know what I'm saying? So like, so I know why I was like that, but like the real question is, well, then how come you didn't adjust? Because you've been out of that situation for literally years.
Right. Yeah.
And nobody's going to call you. Like, I'm not going to be around the table and fucking get a phone call and fucking be in the air. Like, then that's not going to happen. So why, to your point, like, why are you still doing that? Like, it's like, oh, I left that behind. It's like, yeah, but certain mentalities haven't been left behind. And I think I struggle with talking about that because, like, I know how you are with stuff and you're like, oh, you quit for me and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So, like, I don't really get to talk.
I think you should talk about it
because I feel like if I bring it up, like, you're going to be like, oh, he misses it. He quit for me and blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I see what you're saying. I just don't think that you should think that way because I understand, like, missing something, but at the same time being like, I'm not going back to that, though. That's done. So I think it's healthy to be able to talk about it and say how you... I don't take that on to myself anymore. We've had enough conversations on the channel about that topic, and otherwise where I understand that yes, you made that decision for me, but you made the decision for you, and I think that it was a healthy decision for you. So because I believe it was a healthy decision, if I'm the catalyst for that healthy decision, then yay. If you want to talk about how you miss it, talk about it. But I'm still glad you made the decision you made.
Yeah, and like I don't miss it per se, but I do miss like being around people that are like, yeah, you fucked up your shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, finish your set.
Yeah.
Like, and I know that they're hurt too.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, it's yeah. So
yeah, but you definitely have to adjust because this is the body you have for the rest of your life. So the more you fuck it up, the more you are fucked up.
Yeah. No,
the older you get, the more people are like, I had this injury when I was in my 20s, and now I'm like,
no, yeah.
So, you know, like, love your body, take care of your body.
I agree.
And everybody just needs to just do what you can for you. And like that, okay, so like I've always been a very high achiever, and then I got to this point where like everything was just bogging me down, and I felt like I couldn't accomplish anything. And so I had to adjust my expectations of what to expect from myself, and instead of expecting the high stuff that I was used to, I just said, let's just make some positive decisions today that you failed on yesterday, or that you failed on the last 5 years. So just small choices, small decisions can lead you to some actually really great things, because eventually you get momentum. So
Yeah.
I love this song. This is a 10 for me, no two ways about it.
And I
it was
found
heavy. It was great.
I found different things too. Like if Peter just sent me some new music he worked on. Jay sent me something a couple weeks ago, and I know like what it takes to even put something together like that. So
Yeah.
like I'm like, oh, he's still putting out. Jay's still putting out. Dirk's still putting out. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like reorganizing in my mind what it means to put out, what it means to be a grinder. Like that's kind of where I'm at. Like I need to like redefine those things, you know what I'm saying? And like how to live in a world where
it's different than what it was.
it's not life and death all the time.
Yeah.
Like, the shit is not that deep anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just not that deep anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
but make that adjustment.
yeah, and adjust to that.
Yep.
Shout out to Michelle, who just had a baby and is back at it. Holy shit. I really like this song. I know we went a little long on this one. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's Vince's story. What can be done? Shout out to Sean Murphy. When you can you please react to Samson 46 equals 13? Thank you. The Iron Maiden reactions are often. Have an awesome night. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you. Thought we did
Much
that
love
one,
to
no?
you, big homie. Shout out to the big homie, Sean. The most high, maybe like Samson.
Strong back, handsome.
Keep a trigger finger ready on that handgun. Keep the red beam steady on that Klansman. Who about to get a murder charge? I'm on that man one.
Death before the dishonor.
You know about that? You don't know about that? All right, what do you give the song?
I gave it a 10.
I give it a 10. Rock and roll never dies, bitches. Vin and Sori, we're coming right back at you. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.
Hey, can you make the, like, it's looking really, like, look how red my face looks. It's not really red like that. Can you make that adjustment?
I'll try.
I actually look pale, so.
Ian says, I love you, buddy, but I would be the antithesis of what you need for the gym. If you told me your shoulder was fucked up, I'd be like, oh my God, sit down and rest at once.
I'll come make you a cup of tea.
At once, he says. At once. I love you, dude. Oh my God.
I can't wait to see him in real life.
Yep. We're going to have a guest house, all that shit. And God help. Yeah, but wait, the unfortunate individual who would ever mess with my Ian. Huh? He's in the UK.
Yeah.
You gonna die, bro.
Yeah, but where in the... maybe we should go visit him. Maybe I want to do a little bit of touring.
Record sales soaring, straight touring. All right, we shall return. Look, see, Michelle wants to go home. See, that's the thing. Like, you have the kid. The first one, you're okay with pretty much however long they tell you to stay. But after your second or third kid, you're like, look, I know the drill. Fucking let me go. Please,
but honestly, I don't feel that we are treated with the honor and respect we should get after delivering a child. Those places should be like fucking resorts, in my opinion. But they're not. That you're getting the bottom of the barrel. The mattresses are hard. The pillows are flat. They're like, they don't even care. You're just in and out, get you out so they can make their money.
I'm gonna move a couple people around us when it's all over. You know that shit's about to happen. You know it's gonna happen anyway. I was talking to Perk. He's like, that's a pretty large commitment. He says. I was like, I pay you. You'd be fine.
Yeah.
Pay you to be my friend. There's nobody in Florida.
He's done it before.
I've done it before. Yeah, that turned out really well for me too.
Oh no! Actually, it did kind of really.
Well, yeah.
You know, when you back up and you look really big, it did work out for you.
If you take the 10,000-foot view, I guess I could say it'd be really dumb for me to complain.
It worked out for your benefit.
It worked out in my favor.
Yeah, I mean, X amount of dollars. Look at what you got.
Yeah. You know, hey, what can you do? Bye, Fuji Bear Infant Formula. We'll see you guys on the other side of the break. Vin out.
Sori out.
Go. We gotta make a new commercial. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at instory@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSory. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sory and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch. Buy our merch indeed.
That's my line.
Yeah, but just taking up where I left off.
A child shall lead them to buy our merch. See, you just completely ruined.
So we have a live stream. Just you gotta be more agile. You gotta be able to just flow with it.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight's live stream is brought to you by our alliance named the
Alliances. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
One alliance. The Core has brought us these 4 songs tonight. We already did Kill Rob Bailey Heartbeat, and now we are on to Cradle of Filth.
Cradle of freaking filth, dear listener.
Born
this
in a
should
burial
be interesting.
gown. Oh my god. Okay.
Is there a little thingy at the beginning?
I don't think so. You know what? Danny Filth, his lyrical art, I don't know. Just the way that he writes is just really something to behold.
Yeah, Danny Filth is, I've said, the greatest lyricist of all time in my view. This is for the Core. By the way, guys, if you see this little thing right here, that is the latest baby formula on the market. It's called Fuji Bear. It's ours, as you can see the little baby there. We constructed this in Germany because American standards are trash relative to formula. They haven't been updated since
1980.
Since 1980. Our kids had issues with holding down regular American baby formula, so we've always had to get soy or this other thing called Nutramigen. So a lot of this was really birthed out of.
But none of them were that amazing. Like when we were able to try the samples for
expensive as
this,
hell.
Yeah.
They were very expensive, but our kids couldn't keep it down. So Reza was able to keep down the formula, and so now we're like, you know what? I think there's other people that could have it too.
Yeah, so we got it, and our newest one, Seneca, has had a bit of it as well.
It's ranking pretty highly in Amazon. So if you know anybody, you need anybody, come check us out. Send me an email, vinandsory@gmail.com, and I will get you a little discount coupon code.
And everybody that has tried it, like all the babies are drinking it right up without like avoiding it at first. Like once they start feeding it and they taste it, it's not like they have an aversion to the taste. They just suck it right down.
Speaking of which, Born in a Burial Ground from
Born in a Burial
Gown from Cradle of Filth. I am Vin, she is Sory, and we're gonna go right now. Let's go.
Let's go.
Concealing. A starlight line of demon brings it round.
folks. Walpurgis Night, an
Okay.
abbreviation of Saint Walpurgis Night, also known as Saint Walpurga's Eve, is the eve of the Christian feast day of Saint Walpurga, an 8th century abbess in Francia, and is celebrated on the night of 30 April and the day of 1 May.
1 May.
1
It just
May.
passed.
So 30 April.
Well,
So Orion was
no, it's
born on
it's about
Saint
to pass.
Walpurga's Day. He was born April
Wow.
30th because I was born April 29th. So
Yeah.
there you go. There you go, dear listener. So Orion is featured in this song. We should put him on the thumbnail.
Wow. That's
It's
crazy.
blessed foot forward instead of best foot forward. I love the way Danny substitutes words in every song. So clever. Danny Filth is like by far. Shout out to Jason Hopkins.
The complexity in his lyrics is
Lyric
just unsurpassed.
Danny Filth could be a rapper and a really good one. Like Danny Filth could rank as like a top 3 rapper. Like if he devoted himself to the craft,
Yeah.
what he does with language and the similes and the wordplay is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, whenever I read his stuff, there's always stuff I come across where I'm like, I wonder what that means. Like, it happens multiple times in his writing, so I'm like, this
100%.
guy,
100%.
I mean, and I always think that's an interesting decision to make, too.
What do
Like,
you mean?
well, the line between, like, how simple should you make something to make sure everybody understands it, but how complex do you want to make it because that's true to how it is?
Yes.
You know, to me, he just decided he's doing it. He's not going to make that adjustment to kind of make it so everybody understands. He's going to write his stuff, and you know, if you want to level with him, jump in there and start looking up words. So when you read his stuff, do you basically understand all of it?
For the most part, but he's very much into. Remember we were talking with Zen? He was hey Sean, it looks like DeMar Hamlin's actually been improving day over day, so that's good. So it looks like he's gonna make it out. Skip Bayless be damned, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for asking about him though.
With his words, does he? I know he's made up words in the past. Were there any words in here that you noticed?
I don't
were
think
made
he
up?
made up any words.
Oh, I thought he did.
No, I'm saying in this song.
Oh, in other songs though, he's done that, right?
Yeah, but see, like, there's a difference between a 3-year-old making up a word and a guy like Danny Filth
Yes.
or the Apostle Paul making up
Yes,
a
that's
word.
literally what I was thinking.
Like,
yeah.
That's there's a difference, like, because what's fascinating is as soon as you hear the word, you know exactly what he's talking about. That's the thing. That's the difference. Like the way that
Context?
Danny does stuff is like, you know, it makes sense the word that he's invented. There's enough like conventional sort of understanding of the elements so that when he combines them, everybody's like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just a big fan of obviously we're a lyrics based channel. This guy's got the greatest lyrics of all time in my opinion. So Walpurga sauntered in. So it just looks to me like that's the around the time frame. So it's like spring. It's got to be spring.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because
okay.
it's celebrated on April 30th,
Yep.
which is crazy. It's the day after my birthday.
Yeah.
A lot of UFO shit happens around
I know.
the 20s in April as well.
Yep.
Like from April 20th to the 30th, there's a bunch of
Yep.
like very important historical UFO events. Maybe even me.
I was like, maybe.
Maybe even me. There's a lot of things I haven't told you guys.
There's a lot of things that would. Hey, wait a minute. Maybe this isn't my fault.
This
All right, go ahead.
okay. As she graced her window ledge, an orphan gypsy nymph. Now the term gypsy is like offensive. I think you're supposed to say Roma people.
Oh, Roma?
But you know, like how like in the circus, like it was the idea that the gypsies were always in the circus because the circus was like a traveling. They'd set up, tear down type of thing, and gypsies had that sort of transient lifestyle, so they began to be associated. Vin said, who has the greatest lyrics? Obviously, Danny Filth has the greatest lyrics. As far as, like, complexity and beauty and all that. I'm not saying he's, like, a better, like, songwriter that... Well, I do think he's a better songwriter than John Lennon. But what can you do? Okay. Her eyes revealed as Brocken's Peak tried once concealing hell, a snow white line of divine freaks in riot where they fell. So she is this issue of the forest bed, skin flush with sipped absinthe. Okay, so she's drinking her absinthe, right? So her skin is flushed because she just took a sip of absinthe, and there she is on the forest bed, like chilling out in nature. Why are you saying okay like that? You're probably imagining her naked because you have a one-track mind.
No, no, absinthe. Isn't that drink?
It's that drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be illegal, but I got it.
He tried a couple sips of it and then came out with this amazing, like...
Yeah, we out here promoting baby formula and absinthe.
Not at the same time.
I took a snip of that absinthe, bro, and like I came out with the best.
Like fast.
Literally almost instantaneously, I came out with the best thing I've ever written in my life.
You know, like what are those things? Those fractals or what are they? Fractals. Yeah. It was like seeing fractals put out in song. When you picked it up, like the way that you were playing, it was really something. Anyway,
makes you absent-minded. So she's sitting there drinking.
No, that's why I was smiling like that, was because she was out there, and that's that drink that you had. So it just reminded me that it was funny to me.
Yeah, she's on her shit, drinking the absinthe. Absinthe used to make people trip balls back in the day, suppose. Oh yeah, you're supposed to hallucinate all that. I mean, I've got a very high tolerance to that shit apparently, but like I never.
Yeah, but I tried it too, and nothing really. And I don't have a high tolerance for stuff.
Yeah. And this was like European shit too. Like,
I don't think that
we had to pay like $10 extra just for the shipping stuff from
yeah.
Europe. But, I mean, you know, the point is she's a badass. She's out there in nature drinking her absinthe. She's beautiful on the outside, but on the inside she's got hell inside of her, etc. The circus lurches in, a ring of promised delight. So there you go. She's a gypsy. She's in the circus. She's in this transient lifestyle. For 7 days and 7 festival nights, what wicked wonders lie within the confines of the panther's den? Damn.
Oh boy.
She watches from a maypole on the tip of her tongue, the restless spirits of the Christmas to come. A Gretel sick of merely sucking her thumb on gingerbread men. Woo! You know Hansel and Gretel?
Yeah.
And those kids that were trapped. You know, they were trapped by the witch, and, you know, the house is made of candy and all this. But he characterizes her as a Gretel, sick of merely sucking her thumb of gingerbread men.
Mm-hmm. She wants something bigger.
Yeah, but it looks to be like maybe there's some sexual innuendo.
Oh, no, really?
A Gretel sick of merely sucking her thumb of gingerbread men.
Uh-huh.
So I think, and especially consider we're talking about Danny Filth here, that's probably a double entendre.
Well, I mean, it says she watches from a maypole on the tip of her tongue. You know what a maypole is?
No, what's that?
Well, it's just a pole, but there's a bunch of these strings that come out of it, and everybody grabs a ribbons, and then they twist it in circles, but they're going out all over the place. So if you picture a maypole on the top of somebody's tongue, I don't know what they're reaching to, but
right.
it's a dance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the next thing you're talking about, you know.
And the next thing, right? So it could be.
I'm certain there was a lot of trafficking that happened in the circus, because these are all transient people. You're going from place to place to place. Nobody's claiming you except for the circus leader, I guess. So I could imagine if you were an attractive woman in the circus, there was a lot of trafficking happening.
Wow. Yeah.
It just seems to me, especially with people like, you know, Roma people or Gypsy people or whatever, who don't have very many advocates anyway.
Oh, that's sad.
So, spawned, scorned, abhorred by the Ariel, she was the light of the world going down, war-torn, forlorn, and malarial. She was found, born in a burial. That's such a brilliant line. Damn. She was abhorred by the Ariel, so the sky, by God, basically.
Oh.
Right? Like the UAP.
Well, we were talking circus, and then I was thinking about like the aerial walkers, like the tightrope walkers and stuff like that.
Well, again, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe
like
that had the higher position, look down on her, but also the sky.
Exactly.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's using the circus metaphor, and he's just maypole, and he's just carrying. That's what I'm saying. Like, there are levels to this guy's writing.
I know.
Like,
unsurpassed.
When he talks about the Ariel, it's like I'm immediately thinking, oh, he's talking about she was abhorred by God, and then you're saying, well, yeah, but there was like that's what I'm saying. Like that's what separates Danny Filth from pretty much everybody else. Like the dude can write his ass off, but She was a light of the world going down, war-torn, forlorn, and malarial. You know, she's got malaria. And I'm assuming malaria would be a stand-in for all kinds of STDs or whatever that you contract. That's a weird thing about, you know, sex workers and their relationship to men in society as a whole. Is on the one hand, they're extremely desired, but on the other hand, the same people that desire them are simultaneously repulsed by them.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I know.
And so it's a very strange world to live in, I could imagine. You kind of feel that way as a black person. Like, on the one hand, like, they'll celebrate what you can do for them as far as, like, entertainment, but at the same time, they hate you. But I don't know. It just feels a little bit different. But what's interesting here is that I could imagine a person that's like been born into this kind of life would feel like God is that God abhors them. It's like you're already at the bottom of the totem pole in society. Then on top of that, you're a woman, but you're a woman and there's nobody's protecting you, and you're going from town to town in this circus, and you're probably doing some shit on the side for the whatever. So I can imagine her feeling like God abhors you, you know, and that you were born that, like, there's some people, like, I had this conversation with my friend. He was an atheist at the time. He's now a Christian, but he was talking about how he doesn't need God because he worked for everything that he's an Army Ranger.
Yeah.
I worked for everything I had, type A guy, definitely a type A guy for sure. 100%. For sure. But he said, so he started going on this giant catalog of all the things that he's accomplished that he didn't need God for. And I was like, word, bro, like, you're a badass, bro. I said, let me ask you a question. Why were you born as a paralyzed untouchable in India? Like, who controlled that?
Man.
And I said, as much as you worked in Ranger School, and as much as you were all the output you made, do you think that if you were born as a paralyzed untouchable in India, that all of your intentions would have gotten you anything, or would you be under the shoe like pretty much all the untouchables in India are right now? Like, he said, okay, yeah, I see that point, and I'm like, okay, so if God is real, He puts you in America with an able body. With parents in a background in the military. There's so many things that you are born with. If you're born in the Western world, there's so many advantages that you were born with. And forget the Western world. Just being born with the ability to walk and talk, quote, normally.
Yeah.
Is such an amazing gift. I was like listening again to that girl, and she was saying that X% of men, like, never get married, don't have kids, all that type of thing. And I'm like, yo.
That's so sad.
I've been taking this shit for granted. Like, you just take this shit for granted. Like, you just get up and, like, you find a girl and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I've never worried about that. And I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
So when you have a person that's born in this kind of circumstance where all of society is against them, it takes a damn near miracle to just live a normal life. Yeah. Much less what we would consider a successful life.
Yeah.
So that line really struck me where it said, spawned, scorned, abhorred by the aerial. She was a light of the world going down, war-torn, forlorn, and malarial. And I just think that, like, that's what happens. Like, a girl's value, and her value, like, this is one of the problems I have with the manosphere, because they were talking about, like, she was saying that a girl's value decreases with everybody that she sleeps with. And of course, what she was saying a girl's value decreases to men. Yeah. Because the more bodies you have, the less valuable you are to men. That's just an objective fact. That's how dudes operate. So, like, I'm looking at that and I'm like, damn. So what about this girl? Like, if you figure she's born as a gypsy, born in this horrible situation, getting passed around, blah, 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 city to city, yada, 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 nobody takes care of her. But after a while, she's been violated so many times that now it's like, she becomes an untouchable. She becomes like this, so there's a sense in which she is desired in the conjugal sense, which is why she's in a gown per se. but she was born in a burial ground in the sense that she never had a chance.
Nope.
The
exactly.
the social circumstances, which this girl came up in, made it so that her fate was pretty much sealed from the moment she was born. Hence the term "born in a burial ground."
Yeah.
Like, what hope does this girl have? And that's happened. Like, I remember
Right.
Rachel.
I think that's why they said found, born in a burial ground.
Right.
So it was like, okay, all of a sudden at some point they were like, hey, it's been like this all her life. She was found born in a burial ground. It wasn't, they're not necessarily saying she was like that, even though she was, but like they figured it out that she was. Like, there's a certain point in her life where it's like, okay, there was nothing else that could have happened. Like, this is where she's at. You know what I mean? Like, okay, go ahead. What were you saying?
No, that's exactly later, Emily. No, you're exactly right. Unloosed the chain of her God-given cross, seduced now pagan ribbons swathe her repose in the carnival of souls, sold and similarly lost. Too many decades misfit and mislaid, so innocent a tender legend of prey. Parades her second coming. Now they're running afraid. So she is. I think she's giving up the Christianity stuff. I think a lot of people that are born in Europe, especially around this time, like Europe is post-Christian now, but it's something. So you have a Christian backdrop. She's bouncing from Christianity, embracing paganism, which paganism to me seems a lot more feminine oriented. It seems that paganism.
Yeah, I see that. Like because
some,
we're talking about Mother Earth. And,
right. Some forms, and the sexual act is deified in certain pagan religions to where you had cult prostitutes and all the rest of it. And like, on the one hand, as a man, I'm like, yeah, I understand how that religion came about. But on the other hand, it puts some weight and sacredness to the sexual acts that these prostitutes are doing versus what's happening today, which is just, hey, at least there was some sort of meta narrative around what these people were doing aside from just, hey, we're just going to use you.
Oh,
like,
God,
we know it's wrong, but we're going to use you. At least in that context, at least there was some sort of floweriness and sacredness and power that a woman had. I mean, around her sexuality. I think pagans do that a lot better than we do. Obviously, I believe that we have the best sexual ethic ever, a biblical sexual ethic. But a biblical sexual ethic and biblical sexuality and Christian sexuality is not the same thing. Because the fact of the matter is the church is an institution run by men. And anytime you have an institution run by men, you can be certain that the sexual mores are going to be angled to benefit men. So, but I do see like a lot of people like saying, okay, like I can't measure up to God's standards. I'm dirty. I'm unclean. Whatever. She feels she's abhorred by God. So now she's embracing sort of this pagan ideology.
Look, it says now pagan ribbons. Like, remember we were talking about the maypole?
Right, the maypole, yeah.
Yeah.
And now she's running around in the pagan, and it says in a carnival of souls sold and similarly lost.
Ugh.
So the people that are doing this are lost themselves, which is funny. I remember the conversation one time with God. We had just got done with the sex crimes unit. Me and my partner were working down there, and I remember being like, we're going to help all these girls, blah, blah, blah. And I remember the cop saying, like, are you prepared to deal with the pimps and all the rest of it? Because they're going to, that's their source of income. They're going to, I just remember, I'm going to say it to the cop. I remember like, okay, yeah, okay. Like, okay. Especially at that time, like I was working at that time. So I'm like, and then God was like, oh, wow, you're a badass, bro. Like, you're a real...
Always funny to me when you guys have these conversations.
You're a real bad dude, bro. Like, nobody should mess with you. And I was like, what? I'm like, I'm trying to help these girls. And he's like, yeah, I love the guys too, though. I love the guy too. Like, I'm like, now fuck that guy. Like, do you know what he did? I'm like, it was just like a back and forth. And obviously I was wrong. Like, you don't get to decide who gets God's mercy. But I thought I was like some righteous person because I was like, I I was overlooking all the shit that, hey, you're still a image bearer of God. You're still beautiful. You're still amazing. Just because these guys use you doesn't mean that you're damaged goods. Like, that was my mission. Like, and we did that very successfully. I had no affection whatsoever for the guy at all. Like, to me, like, I wanted them to do some dumb shit. Like, especially up here because, like, in New York, like, the pimps were ruthless. They were killing girls. They would cut you from ear to ear, like all types of crazy shit. Like, it was like all these people, oh, sex work is blah. And like, it's a fucking ugly industry. So when I was up here and I saw these dudes, I'm like, man, you guys don't even have the level of, like, evil to be running these girls like this. Like, you guys, like, have no idea. Like, there's a reason, like, you're doing crimes in Maine. Like, you got Boston over there and New York over there. There's a reason you're in Maine. It's because you're a pussy. That's period. End of story. Or you're like Alpo and you've actually done some shit and you're in witness protection, which still makes you a pussy, in my view. But like that line is so crazy where he says to many, when he says to in a carnival of souls sold and similarly lost, like all these people that you're judging, it doesn't matter if it's Epstein and the people on Epstein Island or Republicans, Democrats, abortion, I don't care what it is, the people that you're judging are also lost. Yeah. Yep. And the people that we can't stand are also victims of their own evil. And I just think it takes a lot of real maturity to be able to understand that about people. Yep. That they're similarly lost. They're just on a different side of the same coin of lostness. I think that that's such a powerful idea. Because it changes your goal in engaging these people. Because now it's, I'm going to save this girl from you, but I'm also going to save you from the circumstance that put that crazy fucking idea in your head in the first place. Yeah. Like, you need to be saved from that too. Yep. It's not just as simple as, and like Sean is saying, these dudes are killing prostitutes all the time in Seattle. That's what I'm saying. Like, anybody that's like, anytime that sex work comes up and I get some dude who's like, blah, they're fine with it, blah. I'm like, okay, man, you don't know what the fuck you talking about. It's a fucking brutal industry. It does something to those girls. It changes. Now she moves with the predator's gut. So you see the cycle now. She's become the predator. Yeah. Beyond the fire-lit circle of life, she soothes your cold heart for a while, then matches its beat, sinking in with a knife. Woo! This is what Ian was talking about. He says, she soothes your cold heart for a while, right? Because she's doing the sex work stuff. Then matches its beat, sinking in with a knife. Wow. Look how he puts sinking, though. What? Sinking is SINKING. Right? Yeah. But he's got it as sync, like in sync. In sync. Yeah. Sinking in, so like your heartbeat is synchronized with the knife as it's going in. I mean, just brilliant.
So mine doesn't say it like that. It doesn't spell it that way. I've just regular, but I got that from then matches its beat, sinking it with a knife. Like that's exactly what I pictured. So then when I saw sinking over there, it was even like more clear. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude is just insane. Yeah, well, we both can't be right, Ian. We both can't be right. So I understand that they would disagree. My question would be, is all sexual activity, is that all in bounds? So as long as it's consent, we're cool with everything. And you have to be careful about what that means. Think through the implications of what that means. Okay. Yeah. And so now she's killing this dude. She wrestles her dreams with a delicate ease, espied by her cross on the wall. And should she awake through embrace or mistake, she would take Jesus' blessed foot forward and all. See right there where it says, should she awake through embrace or mistake? Mm-hmm. So I think this is a night where she's deciding she's just going to kill herself. right? And then she basically says, if I wake up, I'll take Jesus's blessed foot forward and all. Like, maybe I'll repent if I wake up from this.
Oh my gosh.
At last, the circus crawled away with another lover in its arms, dancing on her grave. So she didn't wake up; she died. So the world just completely consumed this girl. She said bye 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 in sync, and then she stabbed him.
No.
We got there because you're saying I'm claiming that we've got the best sexual ethic of all time. You're saying that my LGBT friends would disagree with that. So what I'm saying is, okay, so either we're both wrong, which is possible, I'm right and they're wrong, or they're right and I'm wrong, but we both can't be right at the same time. Which then expands the question, how do we get sexual ethics in the first place? Why are we putting gates around certain acts? Why are certain acts with certain people allowable and other acts with other people not allowable? And what's the framework and what's the logic behind it? So if you say there's nothing wrong with an LGBT union, okay. If you say there's nothing wrong with a mixed race union, okay. On what basis are you saying that? Like what's the ground? Because I don't believe that you think all sexual acts are in play. I don't believe that you believe all sexual acts are permissible. So the question is, what is the grid by which you determine whether or not a sexual act is permissible or not? That's the question. Now, a person might say, well, harm. Next question is, who determines what harm is? Does the pastor in Louisiana, and the gay dude in San Francisco have completely different understandings of what harm is, especially in a sexual context. So who determines? So if you're going to say that the harm none principle is what determines your sexual ethic, the next question has to be who determines what harm is?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I've read interviews with this woman who found her dad at 38, and she had a sexual relationship with her dad. She said, "I'm not harmed by it. I'm on birth control. It's nobody's business."
Wow.
I would say, well, harm is still being done. Mm-hmm. You're still harming society, and the potential for normalizing that kind of behavior has destructive ramifications. So that's how I got there. I'm not making the argument here. I'm just putting it down and saying everybody has some sort of limitations on what they believe is inbound sexually, and I'm just saying, right. How do you get there? So that's how we got there. Okay.
It's up to you and whoever you are. Oh. Plot twist.
Well,
okay.
No, it's not a leap, Ian. I know that you believe it's absurd. My question is, what are the what are the groundings by which you say that something is permissible or not? That's the question.
Right.
And then how do you, in your ideology, how do you then impose what you believe sexual ethics should be onto the rest of society? Like, if you don't believe that 38-year-old woman on birth control should have sex with her father, why do you not believe that? And if you don't believe that, would you pass a law to make that illegal? In which case, you are now imposing your sexual ethic onto people. That's what I'm saying. Like, this shit is not as simple as,
right.
Oh, I accept everybody. No, you don't. You don't accept every sexual template in the world. So that's where I was going. Okay, I really, really enjoyed this song. It was a cautionary tale, and it was a real commentary on... there's some people that just get a raw deal, man. Yeah. And I remember, like, Rachel Held Evans, rest in peace to her, radiyallahu anha. But I remember she said... people were talking about, like, when have you almost lost your faith or whatever. And she was talking about after 9/11, there was all this emphasis on the tally in Afghanistan. And they had the girls in burqas and hijabs and all this other shit. And there was one woman who supposedly had committed adultery. And they buried her up to her head and then they stoned her to death. She watched the video. And she said to herself, this woman... was born and died in Afghanistan. she doesn't know what an American is, much less knowing what Jesus is. So let me get this straight. This woman was born all the way on the other side of the world, lived a very, very difficult life, and most likely was raped. And the post-assault care was stoning her to death. And I'm supposed to believe this woman is in hell and that God would be just to send her to hell. And she's like, I couldn't do it.
Yep.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I've got ways in which I've made peace with God, and not like, you know, I do not believe that woman never had a chance or is in hell or whatever. I don't believe that. I believe everybody that truly wants God will have him. Jesus is the only way to God, but anybody that truly wants God will have him. Those two are true. And God places people exactly where he places them, according to Acts 11, so that we would seek him and somehow feel out for him and find him. So, but my point is, if you're not troubled particularly by people all over the world, and women in specific, being born in disadvantageous situations, if you have a worldview that, and I understand why, that person, they could be born and live a full life, never hear of Christ, get stoned to death, and spend eternity in hell. Like, that doesn't bother you. I don't believe that that's true. I don't believe that's how God makes the universe work. But there's millions of people that do believe that, and they're fine with it. Like, like, I understand why she had an issue with her faith after that.
Yeah.
And you gotta wrestle that shit out and fight and find a way to or leave the whole thing. But you can't ignore it. Mm-hmm. Like, quit the. I mean, that's what. It's terrible advice. Don't take it from me. But I think God would rather you quit the whole deal and say, I'm out. I'm not on this team. I think that's more. I think that's better to God than looking at that woman like, yeah, she's in hell. Fuck her.
Yeah.
Oh, born in a burial ground. Oh, too bad. It's like, no, man.
Yeah.
People are born in horrible circumstances, and a lot of them don't get relief.
Yep.
And so, this is a pretty gross song to some degree, but I love how Danny, if you really look at the lyrics, you can see the continuity. This was a beautiful girl who was just chewed up and spat out, and she decided she wasn't going to be a victim anymore. And she ended up dead, and you know, she ended up in God's mercy. It doesn't say she descends to hell or anything like that. It just says that, and it's crazy because the cross was still on her wall.
Yep.
There's still a cross there.
Well, I think the fact that I think her saying, "Look, if I come out of this, I'll throw in with you again," and then her dying is like, well, the fact that she was saying, "I'll throw in with you after this," to me seems like there was a connection between her and God. That she was even saying that she wasn't completely hopeless.
Correct.
But I think that the author, I guess, would be Danny Filth. What he was trying to communicate at the end was that even God abandoned her, because he could have saved her, so she could have reached out to that cross, but instead she died.
Yeah.
And then it just goes into born in a burial gown. But I think that, you know, like we've said before, like that, you know, when people get to that point where they make that decision, like waiting one more day, stuff like that is like really important.
100%.
You know, because sometimes you're right. Some people get a really raw deal, and there's not like a whole lot that you can say to like ease that suffering. Like, you know, in my lifetime, I hope that I ease the suffering of a lot of people. And, you know, some of the times when like real talk, there was points where I didn't want to do the channel anymore, and you were completely on board to keep doing it. And the reason why I did keep doing the channel was because we kept getting emails from people saying like how much it was meaning to them. And I was like, okay, like this is helping people like this, and like I want to ease the suffering of people in the world. Like I would wish that it, you know, when I'm suffering, that somebody would help me. And so yeah, so like I see that situation with this girl, and I'm like, man, it was just raw. It was so hard from the beginning. It was so difficult. And then in the end of the song, you know, she doesn't make it, and I think, oh, what could make things different? I don't know, like, there's no, and maybe this sounds a little corny, but like, and I know that this is a very specific song he was making, but like, was there kindness for this girl, you know? Like, sometimes I go out to the store and I just see how people are treated. Like, this person, you know, I mean, you told me after the person that it was, like, I had to leave that situation alone, but the person in front of me wasn't being treated very kindly. You were like, don't talk to that person. You very rarely say that, so I'm sure you know which situation it is.
Yeah.
So, but the person wasn't doing anything. Maybe they were a little confused with where to set their items or how to use the machine, but the cashier was so rude and so mean to them. But then after that person left, they were like very nice to me and nice to the person behind me. And I was like, why be so mean to that person? You know, but maybe there was more to the story that I don't know about, because you said don't, you know, not to talk to the person, but
Yeah.
That could be, but even in other situations, you just see like some people, like their world is just so cruel and they're surrounded by cruelty, and like they go out in public maybe to go buy something at the store, and that's their one opportunity to be out, and then the people at the store are like rude and mean to them. And you know, like how many times could we prevent somebody's absolute abandonment of hope by just a little bit of kindness, like smiling at somebody and saying hello and helping people, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like maybe if she would have gotten a little bit, like, I understand that this is a story that he created, but it's not far from the human experience. I'm sure there's been lots of people in these situations.
That's why, like, there's an advantage to believing that everybody that you run into on just regular normal life is some sort of divine appointment.
Yeah. Yep.
If you believe that, then it would be a lot easier. Like, this is some of the conversations I have with God, where it's like, if that dude was in this room, would you say that to him like that?
Right.
And I've said, no, I wouldn't. And then the next question is, well, why? Why wouldn't you? And I'd say, it's harder for me to say things that are going to hurt people if they're around me. Mm-hmm. Like, it's very, very hard for me to do that. So I'll talk and talk and talk. Like, if the person was in the room, I would talk to them. I'd say, like, what's going on with you and God? Why are you acting like this? Blah, blah, blah. But if it's on the internet, some random person, and I'm just feeling like in a certain way, I'm just going to go,
You do, yeah.
Because I got a sharp mind and a sharp tongue and quick fingers. And it's like, so some of it, some with some people they wouldn't do that because of cowardice. With some people they wouldn't do this because of X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. It's like, dude, your superpower is like when people are in the room, like I can read and people know, like people in the room with me, like they know that I love them. If I'm having that conversation, we're having that conversation, we're talking. Even if I have to say hard shit to you, I've said the hardest shit in the world to people, and but that's because I'm in the room with them. I'm feeling their energy, and I know that they're feeling my energy, and they're seeing it in my body language. Mm-hmm. But if somebody says some crazy shit on the internet, and I just go, blah, 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 I'm not feeling them, they're not feeling me. So it's you got to be careful. Mm-hmm. You got to be careful because you could be right and 100% wrong. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of really hurting people out there, and a lot of people are hurt in areas that they couldn't control. And some people, they're hurt because they just fucked up their own life and made bad decisions. And some people are hurt because they were born in Afghanistan. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's what the song means to me, for sure. And obviously, Dan, Dan always says this, like, oh, that talk I had with Vin really helped me. But, I mean, we were both in the middle of the shit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we were both helping each other. So there have been very few people that I've like talked to on the channel where I'm like, I helped that person. Mm-hmm. You know, it's almost always been mutual. Like people, shout out to Pony. People have always, So anyway, shout out to the channel. I appreciate it. You guys have always embraced us quickly, and you guys have been there for us too. It's definitely not. It's never been one way. Yeah, okay.
That's 100%.
9.8 for me.
Okay, so whenever you break down his okay, this is what happens to me almost every single Cradle of Filth song. I hear the song and I'm like, yo, I really don't like them. I really am not a Cradle of Filth person. This is totally no.
Fair.
But then you start breaking down the lyrics and I'm like, oh well, this is just moving. You know? And so you always make me love this band even though I don't love this band. So this one I'm going with a 6 because it really, you know, oh man, 6.5. I'll give it a 6.5. But really all those points are the story and the lyrics, like just what he did with it. Mm-hmm. And I just felt for her by the end of the song. So I'm not really sure how much that's Danny and how much that's you. But Danny gets the credit.
9.6 for me.
6.5.
Danny gets the credit.
Yep, because I'll give him that bumped his score to 6.5.
We have more metal for you beautiful people on the way soon. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them to buy our merch. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. My partner in crime has left. She has quit Vin and Sorry. So now it'll just be Vin and Vin. I'm sorry, dear listener. There's nothing I could do about it. She left.
No, I'm coming back.
Oh, she's returned. She's returned.
I've returned. I figured out why I'm so red in these videos.
Why?
So basically all the lights are red. It's reflecting off my white skin.
The light behind you. As if it was reflecting on your white. You're ridiculous.
All right. Anyway, we are in the middle of a live stream.
Hey, Jason, are you the one that played that thing and I re-Facebooked it to everyone?
Uh-oh.
All right.
This
next
song is called Dirty Laundry.
Uh-oh.
From Don Henley.
Uh-oh. Dirty Laundry.
Oh, boy.
Dirty Laundry. Hey, everybody.
I've seen that before in our comment section. You guys are out here airing out your dirty laundry.
Yeah.
Get a counselor.
Yeah. White woman in distress. White woman in distress.
Oh, no.
That was an old school one. All right, you guys ready?
Let's go.
Did you take one or?
No. I was going to either take one or take half of that.
Happy Taffy instead of Laffy Taffy?
Yeah, Laffy Taffy. Okay, let's go.
This is actually pretty even this time.
Really?
Yeah, I reposted it. You're a badass.
Watermelon.
Anytime I run into a guitarist, it's like, sorry, so white, she's reflective. Anytime I run into some like crazy shit, I post it. That shit was hype, bro. All right, here we go. Don Henley, Dirty Laundry. Uh-oh. Here we go. Dirty Laundry. Oh, that sounds tough. Just makes me want to move like this.
sounds like the 80s to me.
100%.
I make my living off the evening news. Just give me something I can use. People love it when you lose. They love dirty laundry.
Jeez.
Well, I could have been an actor, but I wound up here. I just have to look good, I don't have to be clear. Come on, whisper in my ear, give us dirty laundry. Kick 'em when they're up, kick 'em when they're down. Kick 'em when they're up, kick 'em when they're down.
Oh.
Kick 'em when they're up, kick 'em when they're down. Kick 'em when they're up, kick 'em all around. Got the bubble-headed bleach blonde, comes on at 5. She can tell you about the plane crash with a gleam in her eye. It's interesting when people die. We need dirty laundry. Can we film the operation? Is the head dead yet? And all the boys in the newsroom gotta run in bed. Get the widow on the set. We need dirty laundry. Yeah, we do.
Someone's crazy right now.
Do we really need to find out what's going on? Do we really want to know just how far it's gone? Just leave well enough alone. It's your dirty laundry. Kick 'em when they're up, kick 'em when they're down. Kick 'em when they're up, kick 'em when they're down. Kick 'em when they're up, kick 'em when they're down. Kick 'em when they're stiff, kick 'em all around.
Jesus. This shit's corny as hell, bro.
Dirty little secrets, dirty little lies. Got your dirty little fingers in everybody's pies. Let me cut you down to size. It's your dirty laundry. We can do the innuendo, we can dance and sing. When you said down, we haven't told you a thing. We all know that crap is king. We need dirty laundry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. when they're down, kick 'em when they're up, kick 'em when they're down, kick 'em when they're up.
All right,
Kick 'em
that
when they're up,
was
kick 'em when they're down.
Don Henley. I've never heard of this guy before. Tell me your thoughts.
Well, I mean, it's just about it's just about the concept of people doing things and getting caught doing them, and then people making money off other people's dirty laundry, or, you know, that's an interesting concept, right? Being shocked by somebody else's behavior, like they what's wrong?
No, go ahead. I'm seeing where you're going with this.
You know, like, you'll see if people's stuff gets put out there, but we all know that we all have stuff that if every bit of ourselves was put out there, we'd be like, I wouldn't want people to know this. I don't know how big your list is. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, somebody else's dirty laundry gets aired out there, and everybody just is like, oh my gosh, it gets in on the business, instead of being like, what's super significant about that? Like, we all, like, usually it's somebody's fuck ups, right, that get put out there for everybody. Yeah. And instead of just being like, yeah, I got my own stuff though, and keep going on with our day, like, people will make a big giant deal out of it and react to that information like they would never want people to react to them if it was their business out there.
Right, so Dwayne is saying that was not Don Henley. This was his song. A cover band ruined this song.
Oh.
I don't know what he's talking about.
So
is
who
it
we
really
just
not
heard
the guy?
was not Don Henley? Don Henley wrote it and then somebody did a cover and we heard the cover? Is that what he's saying?
Am I the only one that recognizes this trash version? This is not Don Henley. Don Henley is from the Eagles. I don't know. But I still think I think this is pretty self-explanatory and a lot more applicable today than in other periods of time. I make my living off the evening news. Just give me something I can use. People love it when you lose. They love dirty laundry. So this to me is like the editor of like the Inquirer or something.
Yeah.
Like these gossip magazines that were really big in the 90s. I don't know, some of you young bucks don't know this, but there's this I think the Inquirer is like still around.
Is it?
Yeah. I had a guy one time, I had a next door neighbor that had literally a bag full of National Enquirers that he dumped by the dumpster. And I was just going to take out the trash, and the Enquirer was like slipping out of this bag.
Okay.
So I'm like, and it's like aliens.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Met with the president, all types of weird shit. So I'm like, I'm taking this shit. So I took the entire bag.
You did?
I took the entire bag. I was happy for like 6 months. I was reading that shit every day for 6 months in my room. Like, I would just go straight home and open an Inquirer. It was unbelievable. Oh, it was so fun.
What were you looking for when you were reading it?
The UFO stuff. It's a lot of UFO stuff. A lot of like. There were some true stories, like that whole thing about the Germans. Yeah. When the Germans said that they saw cavalry in the air, and they're like, "That's why we surrendered." They're like, "Why did you?" I first heard that story in the Inquirer.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was a UFO incident, and it's documented and everything on our official side. But I first heard that story from the Inquirer.
Wow.
So,
okay.
So yeah, I mean, now I think about it, I've always had a real obsession with UFOs. So. Yeah, but I took that Inquirer, bro, and I read that shit. Like, it was yeah, I mean, it was fun to believe all the things that they were saying, because like 90% of the shit in Inquirer is a complete lie. Brad Pitt has 4 kids with Beyonce, all types of weird shit.
They had all kinds of weird stuff. Yeah. I was so disappointed because we would go to the store with our parents and I would see the magazines up. And I remember reading the Inquirer and seeing, like, obviously that's the thing that's going to catch your eye if you're a kid and you're reading. I mean, there's UFOs, there's aliens, there's, like, there might be a woman has, like, 50 million babies, and there'll be, like, a picture of a woman with, like looked like she was pregnant with a bunch of babies. Yeah, that's like, they were very, very interesting.
Was saying, like, aren't there, like, about some random lady from Missouri got pregnant and birthed alien triplets?
Yeah, they always had some weird whatever. And I remember reading that magazine, and I was like, that looks so interesting. And then I remember telling my dad, I'm like, Dad, did you know that this happened? Because
Right.
finally, for once, I was like interested in what I thought was going on. I thought was the business of the world, and all of the while it was the Inquirer. And then he was
you
like,
thought
"You got
you
that
were in
off
the
the."
shit.
I did. I was like, "Yeah, I am in the know, Dad." And then he was like, because my dad was always in the news. He always knew what was going on with what.
I have the wisdom.
Yeah, so I thought I came with some real knowledge. And he was like, "Was that the Inquirer?" And I was like,
How did you know?
"Yeah."
Yeah, my mom did the same thing. She said, "Baby,
Aw.
you think that's real? Why wouldn't it be on the news?" I said, the government doesn't want people to know, so that's why they're not putting it on the news, Ma. She said, then why are they letting them do it in the Inquirer?
What'd you say?
I said, because, like, I don't know what I said. It was hard, but she
Yeah,
just
but
she destroyed it.
You were right though, baby. Now
No, I was never right. No, the lady didn't give birth to alien
no,
triplets.
not that. But the UFO stuff.
The
You
UFO
said that it was
stuff,
it was the real postings.
Some of the shit was right. Some of the shit was
Yeah.
right. Some of the shit was right. But it's like the Men in Black. They put all the real stories in the Inquirer. So that you won't believe it. If I'd have been sophisticated enough in my
That's the answer
11-year-old
you gave.
mind, that's the answer I'd have gave my mom. Because when I would come up with these answers that were kind of irrefutable because you couldn't falsify them, she would just wave me off and go back to whatever she was. "Oh, you foolish boy. Make sure you do your dishes." Like, shout out to the Inquirer. You gave me a lot of memories, but it looks like this. That's what the song was about. It was like you watch the evening news, you find a rumor, and then you build people up, and then you tear them down. Like, this is what we do, because we're designed to be worshipers.
Yep.
If you take Christ out of his rightful place and you take the Trinity, you take God out of its rightful place of worship, you will absolutely replace it with something or somebody.
Oh, absolutely.
Those are facts.
Yep.
Okay, so like all those things come together in these types of situations.
Yep.
So you don't want to worship God, that's fine. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna do what our ancestors did and worship stars. So, like, one ancestor would worship, a star. In reality, it was Venus. It wasn't really a star. It was just Venus. And then you've got stars today. Well, the stars today, we're too sophisticated to worship Venus. So you're just going to find a guy, call him a star, and worship him.
Right. It
And
just changes
obsess about
form.
his life.
Yep.
So you're still worshiping stars. It's still star worship.
Yep.
You just, and of course, now that we know that Venus was never there in the first place.
Oh no. It makes all of this rather foolish.
So it's like you're sacrificing experiences with God and other people, which is the entire reason we're here, is to experience one another ultimately. And you're sacrificing that so that you could worship some literally empty thing that isn't really there. It's just an illusion. It's unbelievable. But
Wow.
But here's what happens. We know intuitively that we're supposed to get something from worship. This is what people don't understand. Like, we know that worship is supposed to bring us to a level of joy and ecstasy. We know that. And that's the reason people spend so much money going to a football game or a rock show. Like,
Yep.
you can take a still picture of a rock show and a worship session at church, and they would not look different. Hands in the air, crying, all that. It looks exactly the same. So all of us know that we're supposed to get some sort of kickback when we worship.
Yep.
Like, worship is a massively selfish act. That people don't understand that. So
Yeah.
we think because the act is going externally or is rooted in something outside of us, we think that that's a selfless act. It's not. Worship is ultimately a self-beneficial act. And anybody who's actually been in a situation where they're really connecting with God and worshiping God knows that. That's why we would get, baby Christians like fresh out of the baptismal, and they would have these incredible experiences with God. And I'd always say, like, that's great, but you cannot root your faith on that experience. Because it doesn't happen like that all the time. So, but here's what happens. When that God stops giving you the kickback that you're supposed to get from worshiping him or her, then you want to crucify.
Yep.
So what do you have? You got a godless society. You put up Britney Spears. We're going to worship Britney Spears for a couple of years. And then you realize that your life is still as empty as it was before. So now you got to crucify Britney Spears because your worship of her benefited her, but it didn't benefit you. Ooh. It got her rich. It got her famous.
Wow.
But it didn't benefit you at all.
Okay,
You're just
then.
as empty and the song is played out. So now you want to put her on a cross.
Yep.
So now you want to mock her.
Wow.
When she's going through a complete psychological breakdown. You want to mock her because you want to take out all your rage at the fact that she couldn't come through for you as a god. See, you worship her, and now you want to crucify her.
Wow.
When God calls us to worship him, that's an act of love. In order for, because what's happening in worship is what's happening in this reaction channel. You see a song, the song affects you, you love it, and then you go and tell your friends, yo, you got to listen to this song. Okay, that moment when you tell your friends, yo, you got to listen to this. This is the greatest. You are now worshiping. Mm-hmm. And the reason that when you hear a good song, you find your best friend is because you know that your friend getting to experience this masterpiece of music is going to bring them happiness, and they're going to reflect back to you the happiness that you feel inside, and you're both going to worship together. That's why you always want to share your favorite food
Increasing the joy.
with your favorite person, right? It's because you want to give that person the happiness and you want to see them happy. Like, this is crazy. Like, I struggle with Christmas all the time, but like, what are people actually buying when they're buying Christmas presents? They're buying 5 seconds of thanks, Dad. That's all they're buying. 90% of the Christmas presents, and there's no undercurrent here. I'm just saying 90% of the presents that you've gotten or given, you're not using today. Mm-hmm. So that purchase was just for that 5 seconds where they say, thanks, Dad. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, I'm going to bring this kid so much joy that they're not going to be able to help but respond verbally in an act of in gratitude. Yeah. Okay? So when God calls us to worship him, that's what he's calling us to. He's saying, I am the present. And instead of 5 seconds, how about like 5 eternities? I can make you happy. I can get you to the point where you can't help but express your happiness in me. That's what worship is. It's you're so overcome by happiness that you can't help but express it. Right. And that comes out in art, music. It's the overflow of a great experience, right? Mm-hmm. So if you cut yourself off from the entire reason you were created, that doesn't change the fact that you want that experience. Mm-hmm. So you're going to go out, because you've thrown God to the side, he's boring, you're going to go out and find other things to worship. But those things are always going to disappoint you, and you are always going to crucify them. Always. As a rule. Always. Or it will crucify you, as in alcoholism.
Wow.
But worship is a very bloody affair, dear listeners. Somebody's getting on that cross. Mm-hmm. Ask any drug dealer. Ask any drug addict. We just talked about the trafficking stuff in the previous episode. Somebody's getting on that cross for worship. That's how crazy it is. It's literally life or death. So that's what's happening in our media. What's happening in our media is we're in this constant loop of finding gods to worship and finding gods to crucify, and like we still haven't figured it out. Wow. Like, how about we find the real God and worship him, and then and then Jesus, as the scripture says, publicly crucified. So these people get subjected to public executions. All our celebrities get executed in public. Mm-hmm. So Jesus gets crucified in public so that he can relate to everybody. Mm-hmm. This is the thing that's crazy to me about Jesus. Like, on the one hand, he can relate to the gutter girl from the previous song, the gutter nobody from Afghanistan, and simultaneously, I go to a rock star and says, Jesus is the only person that knows what you're going through right now. Where you got exalted and crucified, and you were the same person. You have no idea what the fuck happened. Yep. Only Jesus can relate to that. Uh-huh. He can relate to everybody. It's unbelievable to me. Oh, yeah. It's unbelievable to me. Like, Muhammad came from Quraysh. He came from the greatest tribe and the greatest whatever in the Arab Peninsula. Like, he was an upper middle class guy, and he was extremely handsome. Like, and he married into wealth. Like, he was set up. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the song is cheesy to me. I'm not gonna lie to you. But now I'm a little bit happier that it wasn't the actual band. It was a cover, because I'm like, holy shit, that was horrible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this song a 5.
Hopefully Dwayne isn't trolling us, and then you came out and said that, and it's this actual guy's real song.
Huh?
Imagine if Dwayne is trolling you. You're like, I hope that's because
That
I was
wasn't
gonna say
him.
that was trash.
That was trash.
Okay, so this is I agree. I wasn't really a fan of the
Goog
delivery.
L. I love the way that she does this name, Goog L.
Uh-huh.
I wish we could all hang out and discuss this stuff. This stuff seems too dense for a stream chat. That is true.
Yeah.
We used to call them firesides.
Mm-hmm.
We used to do these firesides where we wouldn't review music. We would just go up and chat for like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody got tired of that. It was trash. Okay. 5. Go ahead.
I don't think that's what happened, but whatever. It's a 5 for me. What'd you give it?
I gave it a 5. What'd you give it?
5.
All right. We're in sync, baby.
Hey!
We're in sync.
All right, we'll be right back. We got-
Dan and Pony miss the firesides. Okay, there are 2 people in the village that miss the firesides. Okay, we shall return. I know that one went a little long again. We got one more song for you, beautiful people. We shall return. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull
You
that
can
off.
also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee
Can't
a
guarantee
positive
you a
review.
positive review.
Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord,
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
and they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Buy merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
to buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
Chaos Divine Astral Plane
Okay.
is up next.
All right, guys. Here we
Check
go.
this out.
We're
This is
getting
from
right
the Core
into it.
Alliance.
Astral Plane Core Alliance. Pony, oni, oni. Let's do it. Liking this. Beautiful.
Wow. Wow, what an interesting song. Okay, this song was
I
so...
love female vocals, but male vocals like this are some of my favorites. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that is a pretty crazy type of style. So he's talking. So obviously it's called astral plane. To my understanding, that's like out there. Like if people like astral project, they leave their body. So you're kind of leaving your body there. It's what's right out there, but not super far, right? But I guess it could be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically there. It looks like something like destroyed him, and he decided to like leave his body like that. Destroyed him, not as in something like ruined his body, but I think something like really broke him as a person. Because he says, no more identity, no more desire. Now weak from dormancy, this heart's lost its fire. Then he says, so my incentive died, so I'm demoralized, asleep behind waking eyes, fading into comatose. Mm-hmm. So this is when he's slipping into it. So his heart lost its fire, and it's weak from being dormant. So I'm assuming must have to do with a broken heart, probably. Then he says, falling through the astral plane, lost in purgatory, flailing wings of disdain, condemn me so I cannot fly. Falling through the astral plane, never hear a scream. There's no waking time in the astral plane. Just seems like he's just like kind of falling into that. Which
I loved that chorus.
When he would do with the lost in purgatory part.
I love that chorus to death. It was so good. Just the way that it sounded.
Yep. When he hit the note, the way that he did the Lost in Purgatory, and I might be never hear a scream, I don't know.
Trapped in purgatory, a lifeless object alive.
He did a singing part when he did Lost in Purgatory.
Yeah, it was just...
When it went up high.
So the astral plane, like, this to me sounded like he was prepping for, like, his first DMT trip. No more identity, no more desire. You know, they talk about ego death. Yeah, you did, Dan. For sure. You know, they talk about ego death.
Yep.
So that would be no more identity, no more desire, kind of a similar thing. It's a lot of like Buddhist type ideology, right? Is it like your suffering is attached, is due to our desires, and our desires are due to our attachments. So if you could detach yourself, then you won't suffer. So no more identity, because he's trying to accomplish ego death. Like, people take like heroic doses of, you know, DMT or psilocybin, whatever. That's what they're trying to get to. Now weak from dormancy, this heart's lost its fire.
Why do they do that? Are they trying to avoid the work?
Well, no. I mean, I think
ego?
it's part. Well, there's a technical sense of looking at ego in the sense of the understanding that you are not me and I'm not you. So like your own separate identity. And so from that perspective, Jesus has an ego. As a matter of fact, when Jesus says I am, that's the Greek word, ego, I me.
Oh, okay.
So
Yep.
ego with ego, ego. So it's the understanding of you as a separate unit of consciousness, as I am me, I am Vincent.
Yep.
Okay. So that's different than...
is that the type of ego death they're trying to accomplish?
Right.
Oh.
Which is essentially death itself, basically, is as close as you could come to actually dying.
Oh.
Is, you know, because...
it's true, because they kind of have like this death, and they come back with like this whole new realization for like how they relate to everything.
Correct.
Interesting. Okay.
Correct. Exactly. So that's what I think is actually going on, is that he's on psilocybin or whatever, and he's explaining why he needs something new, because his heart has lost its fire.
Okay.
So he's kind of hit a wall where he knows he needs something new, and so, you know, he's demoralized, his incentive died, he's asleep behind waking eyes, he's comatose, and so I think I can't hear you, I can't see you, like he just you know, so he's getting progressively more and more and more isolated from everything, and so he needs a restart.
Yep.
So if you look, it says, no expectations, no way to defeat past procrastination, now please conquer me.
Yeah.
Like, he needs something in his life that is more powerful than him to get him out of the wall that he is running into. And as Nemo is saying, that is not the time to trip. I am so curious about that whole situation. Like it's like it's so crazy to me. Like for the first time I heard a DMT, all that shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, that shit is just wild. Part of it for me is like, I mean, I was going through selection. Like they're trying to find your tolerance for certain things.
God.
So like, I had a friend. we were just walking out on break time. And somebody was like, I am this, and this, and this. Because everybody around that area was one of those people.
Yeah, okay.
And so he said, oh, yeah? We used to call him crazy because his eyes would just... He said, oh, yeah?
Oh, my God.
He said, what's your O2 tolerance? The guy had no idea what the fuck we were doing. He's like, what's your O2 tolerance? Sorry, crazy. Let's go. Crazy. The guy's like 6'6", like 250.
Oh my gosh, babe.
Fucking mountain of a man.
A mountain of a man.
Remember I told you I was sparring and the guy knocked me out?
Yeah. Oh, that's the guy?
Yeah. I was like, okay. Because I'd watched it because after work, everybody would just go out and, whatever. And dudes, like, you're completely just destroyed. You've ran 10 miles, all types of shit. We set everything up in the back and we would just go, and it's basically weight classes.
I'm sorry, I'm so distracted by picturing somebody knocking you out. It's so sad.
It was weight class, it's like
because he's
classes.
So big. Yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I was a baby, and there's other guys.
I know
skinny.
that's what you said. So that made it
skinny
even more.
was the only guy, and he was nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like watching, dude. I'm like, yo, I'm seeing what his weakness is.
Okay.
He was falling for a lot of left-sided feints, all types of shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, I'm taking crazy. They're like, and I'm like, nah, for real. After we do this run, I'm taking crazy. Oh, okay. So he's like, he didn't believe it until we wrapped up. He didn't believe it. I was like, okay, bitch, let's go. He's like, come on, man, come on. And I smacked him. Bitch, how you feel about that shit? And then he kind of looked at me. And they was like, yo. Lance. He didn't mean it. I said, I meant it, bitch.
I meant it.
He came after me. I did the little left feint thing, and it was right. I was right. He opened it. Bang!
Whoa.
Roundhouse right to the thigh. Did absolutely nothing to him.
No! Oh
All
my
I
God.
remember was the roundhouse to the thigh, and then I woke up.
No,
Yeah,
really?
that's all I remember. Apparently,
no,
he
this
just...
is some David and Goliath shit.
Apparently, he just ate
flipped.
it. This is what I was told. I'm not sure. But apparently, he ate it, did the little wrap, and went... Ding! All down angle. It was all down angle.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I was
Okay. Oh my gosh.
I don't know what the hell that has to do with anything. Maybe we met the DMT elves. Maybe we didn't. I'm not sure. Back to the music. So, like, this is a guy who, it's really interesting. Like, how could you be in a band and, like, this, when we talked about this, like, can you imagine being in a band and you're like, oh man, we got 30 shows to do?
No.
But I'm sure eventually it gets to that point. I'm sure, same thing with football. Same thing.
Yep.
Oh my God, we got 5 more games in the season. Like, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all these things have a half-life and they die out quickly. And the way that they moved you isn't the way that they move you anymore. Mm-hmm. And when you get in that situation, whether it's drugs, money, fame, women, like, it's a terrifying place when you get there.
Yeah. When
you're young, you don't ever think you're gonna get there. When you're young, you're like, oh my God, I wish I could be in the NFL. I wish I could do this. I wish I could be in dev. Oh man, that'd be crazy to be dev. Blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's gonna lose its taste at some point.
Wow.
At some point. No one cares about American football except Americans. Fucking liar. Okay? Tom Brady just went to Germany and all the German people were like, yeah, Brady, gute Nacht. You Europeans, you love American football. You're just not man enough to be able to play it. That's ridiculous. These people play rugby. I mean, they got broken bones like,
Oh yeah, that's right.
every day. Like no pads, nothing. Like they're slamming each other on the ground. Like,
Oh my gosh.
Americans would never subject themselves to such cruelty.
That level of discomfort.
Where's my
Why?
Where's
Why?
my helmet? Yeah, Brave like, where's my helmet? Like, this is rugby, bitch. There ain't no helmet. What you want?
And my gloves. Give me my gloves.
Yeah, so like, I am very, very fascinated by modern.
So what were you
Western...
saying about music like the DMT stuff, the music, them going on shows? Like you said, as an artist, I don't know where you were gonna go with that.
Well, you just hit that wall where
Yeah.
it's like nothing feels good, nothing sounds good. The thing that the music used to do for you, it doesn't accomplish it anymore, and you need something else to get you there. Because when you first find that thing or you first find that person, they get you there.
Yep.
Yep. And the music gets you there. But
Yep.
then when that wears off, that's when people start panicking and making really bad decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Really bad decisions. So, yeah, your crowd really isn't that sports oriented. That's true. They're not. Nobody cares. Hey, Kai's in the house. Yeah, so he wants to go to this astral plane and have this different experience. And I'm seeing that seems to be a major, even the UFO stuff. There just seems to be a major sort of collective people I definitely believe something is coming around the corner. Mm-hmm. And I believe that millions and millions of people are going to embrace it. Come in. You heard it here first.
Right.
Something's coming around the corner, and it is going to change how we look at science, religion, and all that shit. And millions of people will follow it.
Yep.
That's what I believe.
I think you're right.
That's what I believe.
Yep.
Because I think we're all over the atheist materialist stuff. They're over it. They don't want to become Christians, though. They want some form of transcendence and spirituality because this secularism shit ain't it.
Right.
It's just not. And so, when I look at the UAP phenomena, especially when you talk about people who are interfacing with these beings and they're trying to take care of us, there's a very paternalistic sort of angle, we have to protect you guys from yourselves, all that type of shit. It's people are looking for something bigger than them. Yeah. To tell them how to live, because it's like I said, the modern Western mind is basically a teenager living in his dad's house, saying he wants his independence, but it's still completely dependent on. That's pretty much the modern Western mind. So, yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. I really, really, really love this song. I like the chorus. The chorus was a sing-along chorus.
Was there something off about the timing?
I did think the timing was off on purpose a little bit, but a lot of bands do that. Mudvayne, is famous for that. Obviously, what do you call it? Tool, the kind of math metal. What did you think of it? Did you like? I like songs, oddly enough, that I recognize about myself. I actually like songs that I can actually sing along to in the chorus.
Yeah, I agree. I do enjoy that as well.
Not like Cookie Monster along to, but actually, sing a little.
Yeah.
A little part of your soul.
Yeah, exactly. So
6 votes, 2 days, no speaker. Unbelievable.
So they're doing it.
Unbelievable.
So for me, the song was there was some parts of it when the song was going on, and I didn't like that it was the timing felt off, and I couldn't really vibe with it, and then it would hit other points where I really vibed with it, and then we had when we were doing the breakdown and just going through your explanation and the discussion about it. I don't know. I guess that kind of brought it up again because we had 2 different interpretations for what the song was. So I thought that was kind of cool having 2 angles. I'm going to give this one a 7.7. Yep, 7.7.
7.7.
Yep.
Okay.
What did you give it?
I'm going to give this one a 9.3.
Nice. So you really liked it.
Vagrant. Very interesting, Vagrant.
What does he say?
A part of me thinks aliens, at least the ones that visit us, are demons or spiritual entities rather than actual aliens. Yeah, Jacques Vallée, who's known as like one of the main authorities on the phenomena, as they call it. That's his perspective. He doesn't believe they're interplanetary. He believes they're interdimensional. And that they have agendas and that they want us to see them and perceive them as having this, multi-generational technology, when in reality it just appears to me that they're psychosomatically manipulating us into seeing certain things. And that's why, if you look at the language, unidentified aerial phenomena, that's very important. Because what we're talking, like when you talk about phenomenological, what that means is, from the perspective of a human being looking at this thing, this is what it looks like. So phenomenologically speaking, the Earth is flat, right? Phenomenologically speaking, there's no such thing as atoms because we can't see them. You see what I'm saying? So when they say unidentified area of phenomena, that's a clue. Like, you're seeing something. It's not an optical. You are seeing something. Whether that thing is what you actually think it is, that's the question.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Interesting.
I just want to read this. Whenever I hear some big mouth in Washington or the Christian heartland banging on about the evils of sodomy or whatever, I mentally enter his name in my notebook and tentatively set my watch. Sooner rather than later, he will be discovered down on his weary and well-worn old knees in some dreary motel or latrine with an expired Visa card, having tried to pay well over the odds to be peed upon by some Apache transvestite.
Oh my gosh.
Who the fuck?
Wow.
Who are you quoting? Anyway, shout out to 275 Ranger. What did you give the song finally?
I thought I get a 7.7.
All right, give it a 9.2 is my final answer.
Alrighty then.
Guys, we are having a Fuji stream at some point in the near future. We're gonna manipulate the algorithm of Amazon, and we're just gonna have a day where we get 20 people to get some Fuji so we can bounce up in the algo.
Oh yeah.
So we will give you a song per Fuji.
We'll do
they're
one
only
of those.
30. They're only $30.
Yeah, we'll do.
Good night.
Remember when we were doing like that fire off where we did like a song for 25 or whatever? Instead, they could buy a can.
Yeah.
We'll do the song for them.
Yeah.
And where we do like the 5-minute review after it.
So that is coming up. That is coming up, dear listener. And if you could be as kind as to leave a review, that would also help us in the algo. Okay.
Yay.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Thank you to the core. Shout out to the core. Shout out to Pony. Shout out to 275. Shout out to the big homie Kai. Big homie Dan. Applejack.
Thanks for coming through, you guys. The core was awesome tonight. Brought a lot of great songs. I'm adding some of them to my playlist. I could tell you that. Heartbeat.
If you want to help with Fuji, send me an email. vinandstory@gmail.com. I will get you what is it, 80% off ticket?
Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you know somebody that needs formula and you want to say, hey, check out this formula, it's badass. Send us an email, vinandstory@gmail.com.
Yep.
We will send you a 80% off coupon so you can you get the entire thing for $6, and then give it away, or keep it. But if you buy it, make sure you leave a review. Okay. Much love to all you beautiful people. We are out of here. We actually have to work on Fuji right now. Been out.